Turning to politics now, and Carly Fiorina. She is gaining some serious steam since the second GOP debate earlier this week. So there's a new poll actually showing her leading Donald Trump in New Hampshire. This is a first. The former Hewlett-Packard CEO taking the top spot at 22%, while Donald Trump comes in second at 18%, Ben Carson in third. So can she keep up the momentum? Tammy Bruce is a radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor, and David Goodfriend is a former deputy staff secretary to President Bill Clinton. Thank you both for talking to us. So Tammy, not only is Carly Fiorina gaining momentum, that she's now actually polling higher than Donald Trump, and so far that's a first for any candidate to beat Trump in any poll. How did she get there, and does she keep her position?
Well, she's been moving steadily up, very workmanlike for certainly the last several months. The issue is what I've also been telling all the Trump supporters. This is very early. This is also within the margin of error. Things continue to change. We've got until February before these races even matter, when you have, of course, the first caucuses as the primary season actually starts. So this is an indication, though, the bigger issue here is what it tells the establishment, that Donald Trump wasn't just a black swan and the only thing they needed to worry about. It wasn't a fluke. This shows effectively a sea change in the base of the conservative movement, in the GOP base itself. That's what the establishment needs to worry about. For Carly Fiorina, she needs to see whether or not she can change this into fundraising, into dollars. Last time we checked, she had about $1 million on hand in her own coffers. And if the GOP decides that she's acceptable as a candidate, that would be a good thing, probably. If they don't, you'll start seeing PACs attacking her in commercials and surrogates attacking her as well.
Okay, David, not only did Fiorina come out the winner of the GOP debate by most polls, she did something many of the other candidates didn't do. And she stuck to the issues rather than take part in all the bickering. I didn't time it, but it felt like the entire first half of this debate was just bickering. How do you think she handled herself?
I thought she handled herself very well, at least her candor and her directness. She came off as a leader. But I do think that, and I agree with Tammy on this point, there's a clear message in her ascendancy. I mean, let's not forget, she was at the kiddie table pre-debate for Fox and made it to the primetime debate, and now has made it to the top of a poll. That is a meteoric rise, and I think it reflects a fluidity in the field right now that I think we should all be taking a deep breath and saying, when the voting starts, we'll see some settling in. But as Tammy said, that doesn't happen for some time yet. Once the voting starts, I think we'll see people making commitments, voters making commitments. But what's happening right now, I think, is the attacks are coming. I mean, look at how Donald Trump was unabashedly attacking not just her positions, but her very appearance. Look at how the New York Times said they thought that her statements were dangerous. There's a lot more where that came from, and being a front runner means suffering a lot of attacks. So we'll see how she holds up.
You know, Tammy, I think the American people are growing tired of all the in-party bickering and the name-calling and the insults, and they just want to hear solutions. And case in point, Carly Fiorina responding to Trump on the topic of Russia. First, I want to let everyone listen to Trump's solution with dealing with Vladimir Putin and answering the question. Go ahead, play the tape.
I will get along, I think, with Putin, and I will get along with others, and we will have a much more stable world.
So just to clarify, the only answer I heard to the question I asked is that you would reach out to Vladimir Putin and you would do what?
I believe that I will get along. We will do, between that, Ukraine, all of the other problems, we won't have the kind of problems that our country has right now with Russia and many other nations.
Okay, wait right there, because now I want you to hear Fiorina's response. Play that.
Having met Vladimir Putin, I wouldn't talk to him at all. We've talked way too much. We could rebuild the Sixth Fleet. I will. We haven't. We could rebuild the missile defense program. We haven't. I will.
David?
Yeah. Specificity versus generality. I mean, both of them are taking exactly opposite paths here, and I think Ms. Fiorina's success shows that, as you say, voters are more hungry for solutions than for platitudes. But Donald Trump's success, let's not forget, has been into tapping into a feeling, an emotion, a sense of alienation, more than coming up with a 10-point plan or a bunch of specifics. And it hasn't seemed to have hurt his standing terribly. Yes, there's been some movement in the polls, but he still rides on top of the field. I think, though, the question for Republican voters is going to be, do you want the 10-point plan? Do you want the specifics? Or are you satisfied with the general statements?
Tammy, please do.
Yeah, look, here's the difference with how women have to communicate in power. When men run, there's a presumption that they know the details. They're not used to seeing a woman in this position, in this kind of an arena. A woman in this position looking to become the most powerful person in the world has to show the American people that she knows what she's talking about, she has a plan, she knows the details.
All right.
Because there isn't a presumption that she knows.
That's a great point.
And she does.
That's a great point.